Dr. Erin Denil with Rejuvenate Life Chiropractic, and today I'm going to talk about reading nutrition labels. This video I'm going to go over just some of the spots on a nutrition label and then an ingredient list so that you'll have an idea what to look for. And then on the next video I'm going to compare peanut butters. So I'm just literally going to compare the ingredient list of the same brand, different styles of peanut butter, so we can get some of these differences that I talk about in theory, and I want to show them to you. Today, just talking about the label. If you like the videos, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Find me at rejuvenatelifechiro.com. Put a comment in. I love to make videos, so if you have ideas, suggestions, comments, please do. All right, so a classic nutritional label. I'm trying to get it as big as I can. I will see if I cannot just do a PDF of this so you have an idea and can see it up closer. But a nutrition facts is what we're going to be looking for. We're going to have the first thing to look for is our serving size. This is really important because on most things, this is peanut butter. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is considered 1 serving. So there's a lot of times that we're having more than 1 serving, so we need to reflect that in the amount of calories and every other nutrient fact on the nutrition label. So this is important stuff. Then I look at calories. So this is calories, 200 calories per serving. And this is going to give us a percent or a daily value at this spot, right under the calories. This is based on a 2,000 calorie day. So this is not based on everybody's calorie need or calorie intake. This is just based on the average of getting 2,000 calories a day. When we break it down into fat, carb, and protein. Okay, so fat, carb, and protein. The fat here is 17 grams total, which is 21% of the recommended daily value based on 2,000 calories. They have saturated fat and trans fat, as well as how many milligrams of cholesterol and sodium. I'd like to point out that a lot of items will increase sodium content if they're decreasing fat, just it adds more flavor. The salt will help bring out the flavor of the existing fat that's there. So on reduced fat items, we may actually see our sodium level increase. Reverse can happen when we have decreased sodium. We might see more things like hydrogenated oils listed in the ingredient list. In order for something to be listed as 0 grams of trans fat, it can be 0.5 grams or less and considered 0 on the label. How do they do that? Well, it's still going to be listed in the ingredients, and I'll show you in a minute. But just because it says 0 grams of trans fat does not mean that that is 0. It means it's 0.5 or less. We see cholesterol, we see sodium. Total carbohydrate is 7 grams. It tells us how much fiber we have. So if we have increased fiber, then we're going to have decreased, usually a glycemic index will be a little lower the more fiber that we have. Then it has other total sugars, and this includes 1 gram of added sugars. So this is letting us know that it's not just the natural sugars that were in it, they're actually adding more additional sugar to the product for taste, typically. Grams of protein, 7 grams in this case, this protein would be 7%. Below this big bar, we're then going to go through all of our vitamins and minerals. However, this says nothing about what type of vitamin D. Is it vitamin D2 or vitamin D3? Vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, is the more absorbable form. So that doesn't tell us if calcium is in calcium carbonate, which is not as absorbable as calcium citrate or calcium lactate. So it might tell us what vitamins or minerals are listed, but it's not going to tell us necessarily the form that they take place in. Usually supplement bottles will. And so we don't really know how much of that is going to absorb into the body. So the form in which the vitamin or mineral matters. This has vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, vitamin E, and niacin. It tells you down here that these are based on that 2,000 calorie diet. And this was an example of a Simply Jif low sodium. The Simply Jif low sodium will actually have more calories listed than just the regular Jif. So it decreased sodium, but it had increased calories like 10 calories. So just to keep in mind, that's that. So reading a label that way. Okay, so this can be a little deceiving. What I like to look at, and before I look anything at this, I look at this. Okay, now, it's a little small for you to see. I will see if I can blow it up for you. Ingredients: made from roasted peanuts, contains 2% or less of the following: fully hydrogenated vegetable oil, rapeseed oil and soybean, mono and diglycerides, molasses, sugar, and salt. Mono and diglycerides, triglycerides you may have heard of. Okay, triglycerides, when we measure that in the blood, there's basically 3 glycerol units, long fatty acid chain. These mean 1 or 2. So it's added sugar, right, that we talked about from the other side is the molasses and the sugar. Rapeseed oil contains toxic, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, I don't know, uric acid, which the heart is affected. So anytime a label tells me it has rapeseed and a derivative, which is the canola oil and vegetable oils, typically are in this category. The rapeseed got converted to canola in order to have a lower uric acid level. It's called a LEAR, L-E-A-R, low uric acid rapeseed, which equals canola oil. So they've changed it chemically. The more times that our food has gone through chemical changes or chemical processes, the less like food it is and the more like chemical it is. Okay, so the less processed food is, typically speaking, the easier we absorb it, and it's less inflammatory, lots of benefits. Okay, see, as I said before, trans fat is listed, the fully hydrogenated oils. It was not listed in the ingredient, or it's listed in the ingredients, but not listed there. It must be 0.5 grams or less. Okay, but it's still in there. So the trans fat is not 0. It can't be 0, because hydrogenated oils are a type of trans fat. The difference, the one that our body likes, is cis. In a chemical formula, a trans fat will take on this configuration, a cis formula, or this is cis, this is trans. So this is where different carbons are, okay? And they'll be attached to other things. Our body recognizes cis. Our body does not recognize this one inside. So this configuration takes place when we're taking a liquid and trying to turn it into a solid. So an oil like our rapeseed and soybean are now having that chemical process undergo it to turn a liquid that's something that's normally liquid at room temperature into a solid. So it makes it more like a coconut oil. So coconut oil is an example of a saturated fat. Okay, canola oil is an example of unsaturated. Olive oil is an unsaturated fat, liquid at room temperature, unsaturated. When we have calorie comparison here, Simply Jif has 200 calories, 65 milligrams of sodium. Simply Jif is our reduced sodium peanut butter. Jif Original has 190 calories. It has 140 milligrams of sodium. So we increased calories by 10, okay, per serving when we went to a reduced salt in the Simply Jif. However, we added a bunch of other things. So where just a simple peanut butter, and I will show you that on the next video, may just be the peanuts and the oil and a little sugar thrown in, we now add other things to it. Okay, so here is the little snippet on reading nutritional labels. This stuff is important. So a lot of people will ask me, and as long as I am on this topic, a item that likes to sneak in is sucralose. Sucralose is not sucrose. Sucrose is a simple sugar. Okay, simple sugar, it's table sugar. Sucralose is aspartame. So the biggest place that I see this is going to be where people think they're doing healthy things, but they're not, is on drinks. Okay, especially low calorie or no calorie drinks, flavored waters, those types of things. It is not in LaCroix, but it is in other different types of diet drinks. Where I see it for all of my male or female muscle bodybuilder types, these things are in protein drinks, they're in the amino acid drinks, they are in a lot of the powders and things that we get at health food stores. It is aspartame. That's what you're doing. So if you're not reading the label or not knowing to read sucralose on the label, that's going to be there. Okay. We also will see things like red number 40 or yellow, number something. It is a color, a dye that our body does not recognize that sneaks into the label. So as we're reading labels and you're getting familiar with all the labels that we've talked about, I like the ingredient section best. Okay, now let's talk marketing here. The marketing section is going to tell us that the Simply Jif, now Simply is got the less sodium compared to the Jif Original, 33% less total sugar. Okay. Contains 2 grams of sugar per serving. Regular Jif peanut butter contains 3. So 2 compared to 3 grams. Then we have low sodium, 7 grams of protein. Gluten-free, contains no artificial preservatives, kosher, non-GMO certified. Okay, so some of these things are good, and some of these things, hydrogenated oils, rapeseed, soybean, not so good. So this part, the ingredient label, is what I look for the most, and then I come back and see how many calories. The reason I do this is because if I am taking in food, like natural food sources, then I am not nearly as likely to be hungry later. I am not nearly as likely to have a reaction to it, like a food sensitivity. Lots of different things. My body just processes regular food better. So these are my tips and tricks for looking at the food and nutrition labels. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, like, share, subscribe, get the alerts for when my videos come out. Go to my website, rejuvenatelifechiro.com. Comment. Any of those things would be much appreciated. But again, Dr. Erin Denil with Rejuvenate Life Chiropractic, and I hope you have a fantastic day.